Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's Monday, and guess what? I have two news people today. This is so great. Morning news update, of course, brought to you by Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty, and she will work hard for you if you give her a call, 740-418-4135, and she'll be happy to help you out with all your real estate needs. And of course, today is Monday, which means it's news day, and we're going to talk about a plethora of things. How's that?
Okay, that's a safe way to do it.
Pete and Jeremiah.
Exactly.
Not the dips. It's the PJs. It's the PJs.
The PJs. Well, good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
Did you have a
How
good
y'all
weekend?
doing?
A little tired.
Yeah.
But,
so you were out queening around all weekend.
I was, covering the Wellston and OhillCo Queen contest.
Mm-hmm.
There was 3 of them over the weekend, but we'll get to that. We'll let Pete get started here.
Okay. So what's going on, Pete? So this is what happens when you go on vacation. You come in all frazzled.
Right.
Because you're trying to catch up.
It's hard. I feel it's hard when we're all here to try to cover everything and do it the way you want and all like that. 2 counties and lots going on, good stuff, bad stuff, etc. Sports stuff, football, all that stuff. But it's all part of what we try to do. But as Jeremiah said, he was covering some stuff over the weekend, the Queen's contest, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But without a doubt, the story attracting the most attention locally is about an alleged hate crime, which occurred at Vinton County High School, or allegedly occurred at Vinton County High School.
I don't know that I've ever gotten so many private messages about a news story, like personally, people saying, what's going on with this?
Well, I can tell you this much. The father of the victim, which would be a freshman girl at Vinton County High School who is African-American, he posted something shortly after that because he was unhappy that it occurred, angry that it occurred, I think would be accurate to say.
Yeah.
And then also very dissatisfied with what he felt was the immediate response, at least, that he was getting from school officials.
Or lack thereof.
Right. And in his post, he felt like, this wasn't the first time something had happened. This was the newest thing and the worst thing. And that triggered this Facebook post. And I just checked it this morning. We're in the 1,200s in shares on that. That means that many people have taken the post and they put it on their Facebook. And then it's exponential after that.
Oh, then it's on.
Right. So, how many exposures, what we call exposures there have been, people have seen that post. Yeah. It's in the thousands, obviously, but 594 comments as well. Oh, my gosh. Because, a lot of people will read, but, they won't take the time to necessarily throw in their 2 cents. But so.
Could we kind of back up and in case people don't know about the event, could you kind of explain what happened?
Yeah, we can certainly do that. Jeremiah wrote the story, but we wrote it off the information that was available after, it started swirling on social media.
Swirling is
in the middle,
tornadoing.
In the middle and late in the week. Yeah. But the incident happened in a restroom at Vinton County High School, and this is all what the father of the victim is saying. He is saying that his daughter, a freshman at Vinton County High School, who is African American, was assaulted and taunted because she is black. It was referred to as a hate crime. That was the reason that they were picking on her and assaulting her and making fun of her, etc. And what century
are we in? Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. It's just like that's what jumped out to me.
This is once again, this is the allegation. It was apparently taken to the school officials, and Mr. Bledsoe, Eric Bledsoe, he is a resident of Allensville. I think his father was a Vinton County commissioner, so a fairly well-known family there in Vinton County.
Okay.
Brought it to the attention of school officials. He did not receive a response immediately, and the first that he heard about it was when his daughter called him from the principal's office, and she was upset, of course. And I think he was very unhappy that he had to hear it from her, for starters. All right.
Mm-hmm.
He has also been unhappy or dissatisfied about the response. So the response since then. Now,
Okay.
I do know that the school is investigating the case. Rick Brooks, who is the superintendent of schools, put out a Facebook post announcement of his own. It was on the school website and on the school's district Facebook on Friday. So, about 3 days after. And he did not specifically refer to that incident, but it was an obvious response to what Mr. Bledsoe posted, and certainly the blowback from that post in the public. And, what he said was, I will read it. What Mr. Brooks said is the Vinton County local schools and its administration take all incidents that involve students very seriously, and we investigate those incidents thoroughly. Once facts are determined, discipline appropriate to the offense is issued as warranted. He added, discipline may include suspension and expulsion from school, suspension from extracurricular activities, and/or suspension from transportation. All students need a safe learning environment, and safety is of utmost priority for our school district and administrators. And so we don't know what the school district has done, if there has been any punishment yet. There's been some comments on social media that there has been. I don't know whether that's the case or not, because I don't know whether there's surveillance in bathrooms and all like that. They're probably interviewing all the students that were involved in this. There's
a lot to investigate.
There is, and you want to be fair to all the parties in determining what happened and what the appropriate punishment should be.
Right.
Now, I do know, I had this confirmed on Saturday, that the Vinton County Sheriff's Office is also investigating the incident. There is a school resource officer at some of the schools, and there is one, I think, that is pretty much at base at Vinton County High School. So I don't know whether this is a natural thing that would happen because there's a school resource officer there, but regardless, the Sheriff's Office is investigating it too. So you're talking about not just something disciplinary within the schools. You have juveniles involved here. Remember, non-adults under the age of 18, I'm guessing, or at least some of them. And so, you could have something criminal, perhaps through juvenile court.
Very much so.
So, this is where, the situation stands right now. But the bottom line is, we're talking about, this is the world we live in. This wasn't an assault between students. This was an assault that involved apparently white students versus an African-American single student. And so, it has been labeled a hate crime. And the father did make it clear in his post that he feels and alleges that what happened was because his daughter is black.
Okay.
So I would not be surprised, based on what has been on social media and like this, that this becomes a state, maybe even a national story. Who knows how this might get picked up and framed.
100%.
So very, very unfortunate thing. Certainly all the way around.
Yeah, because some of the comments that I got personally were people sharing it to the big stations and stuff like that. So
Right.
Yeah, I've been tagged in it numerous times too, and after sitting down with Pete and discussing it, we decided to go ahead with an article on it. I'd been reached out before. Reportedly, this isn't the first time that students have bullied or picked on this particular
young lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing as well.
Oh boy.
So I'm sure the Vinton County School Board meeting coming up in September will probably be an interesting one. Red will have his hands full, I'm saying.
Right. So
Red may call in sick that day.
So this will be a continuing thing to see what the sheriff's office might do. also what the school might do. Now, another issue involved, even though this is very much out there in the public, we're talking about juveniles being involved. We're talking about confidentiality.
Yep.
I know from doing this job for a long time, normally schools don't comment on disciplinary actions against students.
Sure.
Because they are juveniles and because it's a confidentiality
Absolutely.
thing. I mean, they won't, they just won't do it. So the public will still want to know, what did you do? What did you didn't do?
This is glad other people get paid those big bucks and not us to make those decisions.
So anyway, that once again is a story. We do have it posted on our website and shared on Facebook. And of course, we'll see if there's any additional or follow-up information before our
still
print
work
edition
in progress
comes out on Wednesday. But now I'm going to turn it over. I'll sit here in the middle between you two, but we'll turn it over.
Oh, we love Pete being the rose.
Okay, we'll turn it over to Jeremiah because he was busy this weekend covering the 2023 OhillCo Queens contest. Now, we always have to remind everybody of this. This is not the royalty or the royalty candidates that will reign over this year's festival. It's for next year. That's always before the current 2022 festival. Those girls have already been picked, and they have reigned really from the end of last year's festival through this year's festival.
Yeah, it's really
this is
confusing.
So when we say the 2023 finalists for Junior Queen, Little Miss, and Big Queen, we're talking about next year's royalty candidates.
Yes.
All right. Take it away, Jeremiah.
All right. Thank you, Pete. So, yeah, me and Jim was talking about this before we started. It is a little different. The girls that competed over the weekend, they will be crowned at the close of this year's festival. The girls that are reigning for this year's festival was crowned in 2021 at the close. And like Pete said, has reigned throughout the year. When this court gets crowned on Saturday, you should see them in the parades at the Apple Festival. So
it'll be kind of like their first hurrah.
It'll be like their first hurrah.
Yeah.
So there was 3 contests over the weekend. A little different this year. The Wellston OhillCo Society decided to open the contest up to all of Jackson and Vinton counties.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
That was interesting. They allowed the opportunity for some different young ladies from the different areas in those counties to try out. Before, it was just Wellston City School District.
Yeah.
So it was a smaller pool of individuals. But I did notice that they had some girls from Jackson and some girls from Vinton County.
I was going to ask you, did they take advantage of that?
There was some. And I think some of the finalists are even from Jackson and or Vinton County, possibly.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and get into those. The 2023 Little Missahilco Queen Contest, as well as the Junior Miss OhillCo Queen Contest, were both held on Saturday, August 27th. Now, the Little Miss OhillCo Queen Contest, it was a preliminary contest. They did a top 5 for that.
Okay.
And then they will have another contest at the Wellston OhillCo Festival on Thursday, September 8th at 6 p.m. to narrow the field down to a final 3. So it's a little different from the junior and the big. They actually named a top 3 in those other 2 contests.
Gotcha.
So your 5 finalists for the Little Miss.
Cute.
And James is putting some of those young ladies from the Little Miss contest there. They're doing their little interview there with, that is Jasmine Henry. She was your 2006 Little Miss second attendant, 2011 Junior Miss Queen, and 2015 Cole Festival second attendant. She was your MC, Master of Ceremonies, for the Little Miss contest. And you have there on the screen, that is the winners. Seated from the left, you have Sophie Smith. And then you have Drew Spraglin, Avery Ray, and then standing behind is Catherine Mannering and Kennedy Smith. And those are your top 5 from the Little Miss contest. They were chosen from a pool of 11 contestants this year. And they will compete again, like I said, at the festival on Thursday, September 8th at 6 p.m. on stage to narrow down to a top 3. And we'll move on to the Junior Miss. contest. It was also held on Saturday, August 27th at Wellston High School, and they named a top 3 finalists. The top 3 finalists chosen, you can see them seated here from the left. You have Adeline Kuhn, Lily Swartz, Emma Spraglin, which is a sister to Drew, I do believe. I think we were talking about that before the show there. And these 3 ladies are your 3 finalists for the Junior Miss. We won't know like placings, like who's queen, who's first, who's second attendant until the close of the festival. And then in the 2023 Missahilco Queen Contest, it was held on Sunday, August 28th at Wellston High School. And they had 8 young ladies compete for a spot as a finalist. The top 3 are shown here. You have Emily Scott, who is a 17-year-old daughter of Tanya and Jeremy Perkins. She is a senior at Buckeye Hills Career Center. There in the center, is Caitlin Bright, who is the 17-year-old daughter of Keisha Elkins. She is a senior at Wellston High School. And there on the end was it Kaylin Bowman?
I think so.
Kaylin Bowman, who is the 17-year-old daughter of, is it Rochelle Bowman and Jeremy
Benzel, I'm guessing.
Yes, Benzel.
That's a guess.
Who is Miss Bowman is a senior
Kylan
at Jackson.
Bowman.
Kylan
is
a senior at Jackson High School. So that was your top 3 from the Miss contest. But it was all 3 contests. I felt they were pretty well attended. And the festival's coming up this year. It will be kicking off
next
on Wednesday.
Week? Like a week from Wednesday.
It'll be the 7th, September 7th, right, Pete?
Is that? Yeah.
Next week?
Yeah, it's next week.
Yeah, that's hard to believe. We're saying
Labor
next
Day's
week.
a week from today.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. So this year, the festival will kick off on Wednesday instead of Tuesday, and it will run through Saturday. I'll be working on a preview highlighting each day of the festival along with entertainment acts for this year. The Grand Marshal this year, we found out this morning, is Dennis Dupree. Right, Pete?
That is correct.
And
cool.
Pete could probably talk a little more about Dennis offhand, but he is the Grand Marshal for the parade. Usually has a spot there for him at the front of the parade. Usually do a parade on Wednesday, and they also do one on Saturday. But Wednesday is always kind of like the opening day. But in the past, that Tuesday of the festival was always your like preview night. They always had that Coal Miner Olympics and like a gospel night.
Yeah.
I was looking ahead at the schedule. It looks like they've moved that Coal Miner Olympics to Wednesday night. And then it looked like they had on the schedule Saturday afternoon some gospel music.
Good.
So you can still look forward to that.
Still have just kind of condensing it down.
Yeah. Down into 4 days there. So that's all I have to report on that. Back to you, Pete.
All right. Well, you mentioned Dennis Dupree being the Grand Marshal. We just found that out this morning, as a matter of fact. And so we haven't got, official information, a bio or anything. But I do know that we can say that Dennis, as far as I know, he's a lifelong resident of Wellston. Been there as long as I know.
Yeah.
Very well-known family, very well-known man. He has been on the school board for a number of years. He's been on city council for a number of years. He was the service director for a time in Wellston. Most of his family still lives in Wellston. One of his sons, Randy Dupree, is the legal advisor for the city of Wellston and is a practicing attorney in Gallia County, I think. And Aaron Dupree, one of these other sons, is one of the assistant fire chiefs for the Wellston Fire Department and is also on the OhillCo Society. Great. And Dennis, I believe, has been and maybe still is a member of the OhillCo Society. And Dennis has also been a long-time member of the Wellston Fire Department. So also been very active, especially in previous years with the Republican Party and Republican politics in Wellston and in Jackson County. Very, very well-known man, Dennis Dupree, and a very good community person. So I can tell you this, they've made a good choice. Somebody who truly has their heart in Wellston.
Sure, in the community,
and has been active in many, many civic activities.
I'm going to take my leave, Pete. we'll leave it to you guys.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jeremiah, for everything.
We'll miss you, buddy.
For the commentary and the photos and all the good work that you've been doing.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Okay. We're going to continue now with the news. And once again, got some things kind of on the crime front to tell you. Most of these things were in our print edition of the paper this last Saturday. So they're online. So if you haven't picked up a paper yet, you didn't receive a paper, go get one, because there has been lots of news. Our lead story on Saturday came from the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, and we talked about the alleged hate crime in Vinton County, and those things are very much on the national side. You hear about these things occurring, and a lot of sensitivity nationally to that when they do.
Sure.
But another problem that you hear a lot about, and you have now for years, but it still continues to be a problem with all the electronics, the phones, the computers, the social media, and that is the traps that can occur with online relationships.
Yes.
And that occurred here in Jackson County, according to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. Basically, an Arizona man is facing felony charges now for he actually connected with a Jackson area teenager and had an online relationship and showed up here in Jackson County to build on that online relationship.
And he's 27?
He's 27 years old.
Do they not have girls in Arizona, Pete?
I don't know. The Jackson area teen, of course, was not identified. The age was not identified either. But it ended the man who is Cameron E. Tobert of Peoria, Arizona. There he is right there. He actually flew to Columbus and then came down here to Jackson very recently. And on this past Monday, a week ago, Monday on August 22nd, Jackson County Sheriff Ted Frazier's deputies were notified that a man had fled from a bedroom window, breaking it. The man was suspected to have had a sexual encounter with this juvenile who resides in the home. That was the teen that supposedly he had the online relationship.
Okay.
During the investigation, deputies were able to identify the suspect's vehicle. Then they were able to contact the Jackson High School staff the next day, August 23rd. Said that they were looking for Tobert and that he had fled from the deputies the previous night, where his presence was noted there at the victim's home. A short time later, the staff reported that the vehicle supposedly belonging to Tobert had been seen in the parking lot. They were able to detain Tobert in the parking lot and take him into custody without further incident.
At the school?
At the school, in the parking lot, apparently. He admitted that he had met with the juvenile online approximately 6 months ago. The pair communicated via social media platforms identified as Discord and Google Photos. He said he flew to Columbus Airport in the early morning hours of August 20th with the intent to come to Jackson to meet the teen in person. He also admitted to having sexual intercourse with this person. Now, the fact that you have an alleged consensual relationship doesn't make it okay when you're 27 and the girl is underage.
Yeah.
Exactly. That won't roll. So
again, do they not have girls in Arizona, Pete?
I cannot tell you.
Okay.
He has been charged with unlawful sexual conduct with a minor, which is a third-degree felony. He may have faced additional charges after a review of the case by the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office.
Ouch.
He is currently in the Jackson County Correctional Facility and is supposed to have, by the way, a hearing this morning, almost as we speak.
I'm kind of curious about this. Was there any indication that that this is the first time that this fella has done this, or is there a past record, or was that talked about?
We didn't have that information. That would be something that perhaps the authorities didn't know at the time of the arrest and that this information was put out. It could be that they did not include that information.
It just kind of seems weird that this would be the only time that he's done something like that, but maybe he did.
Right. Could be, but anyway, that was
interesting.
That was a story in our Saturday paper. Also in our Saturday paper, a crime of a different type. Mm-hmm. And this is one that where there just wasn't an arrest made and a charge. there was actual disposition in United States District Court. This occurred on Friday, and it involved a local man, Jason Atkins, age 46. His address was listed as Jackson area. He was sentenced to 9 years for orchestrating what the United States District Court called a $50 million Ponzi scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that Mr. Atkins solicited victims from all over the country and the world, from right here in Jackson County. According to court documents, this occurred over a 7-year period starting in 2012 and going all the way through 2018. Said that Mr. Atkins conspired to solicit millions of dollars from investors under false pretenses, failed to invest the funds as promised, and misappropriated investors' funds for his own benefit and the benefit of others. Atkins and others claim that they bought and sold oversized tires, commonly known as off-the-road tires, which are used on earth-moving equipment and or mining equipment. Investors were told their money would be used to buy the tires at a steep discount, and then the tires would be resold to a buyer at a much higher rate, and there would be profit for all those who had invested. Investors were promised a 15 to 20% rate of return on the investment within 6 months. Now, this obviously did not happen, at least for some of the investors. As Ponzi schemes work, as pyramid schemes work, Atkins would sometimes pay the return on investment for the first transaction with new money that he had received.
Sure.
So that's how that works. In addition, Atkins and his co-conspirators employed a sham escrow account to falsely reassure investor victims that their money was safe until the tire deals were consummated. So, that apparently bought him some time when people asked questions or had concerns about what was happening with their money. With his money, according to the United States District Court, this is not an allegation, they're saying this is facts. Mm-hmm. He bought cars, vacations, and property with the funds from the scheme. For example, he constructed a pool at his personal residence, and he also spent more than $20,000 at one time to lease a private jet. So, this is something that you see on TV, or this is something in a TV movie or something.
It is.
But according to the United States District Court, this occurred. He failed to file individual income tax returns as well. Surprise, surprise. And in 2013 specifically, they said he earned $1.1 million and should have paid $237 to the IRS.
Oh, the IRS doesn't like that very much.
No, it doesn't.
When they don't get their take.
So all that, most people don't know that these things are going on. Maybe some people are involved as investors or whatever, and they're concerned. But, this obviously is more of a private matter at that point. But I think that this investigation had been going on for some time, and this is just when the news came out. It kind of was consummated with a sentencing that occurred. 9 years is what Mr. Atkins got. In the United States District Court on Friday. News release was put out, and we were able to get it in our Saturday edition. That story is also online. Mm-hmm. All right, another story, a crime story. This comes from the Jackson Police Department. This one has not been in the paper yet, but we're going to get it online for you.
Do we have the video?
We don't have a video. We have a surveillance photo.
No, we got a video.
Oh, we have a video.
Oh, this is good.
Okay.
And wham! Oh, you weren't here, Pete.
Oh, no, I didn't see this.
Yeah, so...
Okay.
Yeah, so the officer was our guest on the show the next day.
Oh, Mr. Sizemore.
Mr. Sizemore, just by happenstance. So he brought that with him. So we played it about 52,000 times.
I won't go into that at all. But anyway, the point is, as a result of a traffic stop and things that happen after the traffic stop, Justin Sizemore, patrolman, of course.
Who's the dum-dum that ran from him, I guess?
Okay.
We didn't talk about that.
His name is Sean Norman, age 32, no address listed, who possibly had a warrant out for his arrest.
Sean.
And let's see. Okay, I take that back. Mr. Norman was one of the suspects in the car who had a warrant, but that was not the person who was involved in the physical melee there with with Justin Sizemore. That would be William Beach, who was taken into custody without further incident. He has been charged with first degree. He has been charged with obstructing official business, resisting arrest, and felonious assault on a peace officer. And that last charge is a fourth degree felony. What they said was that that Beach, who is 31 years old, started running after the police tried to detain him.
Mm-hmm.
Officer Sizemore was able to catch up to Beach in the middle of Bridge Street. You saw the video there, and take him to the ground.
Well, let's just watch it again and there we go.
However, while he was trying to detain Beach, he was struck in the face twice because Beach did not go, according to the police, gently into the good night.
No, he did not.
You know, when they say arrested without further incident, there was a further incident.
Well, not to mention just the torn uniform. And we got to see all the road rash of Patrolman Sizemore as well. So.
Right, and we remember that there was Jackson's female police officer, Christina Thompson, was involved in an assault against her several months ago. We're going to follow up on that and see what happened. But I think there was the same charge that came out, assault on a police officer there as well. And that is, once again, a felony.
Yes.
You know,
don't.
I mean, if somebody hits me or hits you, it's one thing. If they hit an officer of the law, that's even more serious.
Yeah, it's not good.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. This came out at the end of last week too. We just happened to be looking at the Ohio Department of Health website, and egads, Jackson County is ranked number 1 in Ohio for COVID-19 concentration.
Oh no!
Remember, we had increasing COVID cases. We had increasing COVID-19 cases during the summer. All right, and then I believe last week when we were on television, it had actually gone down a little bit. So it got subsiding. But then apparently here in the next week, it picked up quite a bit.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I know numerous people that are home right now with it.
Okay,
personally.
Well, according to the Ohio Department of Health, and this is fairly current, as of Thursday, August 25th, that's when they update their county by county totals. Jackson County ranked number 1 out of the state's 88 counties for the highest per capita percentage of COVID-19. Not the raw number of cases, because Jackson County is a lightly populated county compared to the city counties, of course. But if you put it on a per capita basis, Jackson County is number 1. As a matter of fact, 326 cases the last 2 weeks out of a population of 32,014. This means just a little over 1,000.8 cases per 100,000 residents in Jackson County. Man. So basically, almost 1 in 100 in Jackson County had COVID-19 last week, is what that translates to.
Good grief, that's a lot.
Gallia County was next, and it was 896.4 cases. So it's down quite a bit from Jackson County. And once again, this is curious, but we saw this when the pandemic was at its worst. You know, we looked at all the counties. The county that's at the bottom again is Holmes County, which has high Amish population.
Well,
up there in eastern Ohio.
I feel like you can contribute that to a couple of things. I'm guessing they probably just don't test.
You know,
or keep it amongst themselves.
That may very well be. And with many of the cases, the great majority of the cases being fairly minor cases, you wonder how many COVID-19 cases there really are.
Correct.
Right. And even with the numbers that we have documented. But according to other stats that we have here, Jackson County has 11 individuals who are hospitalized with COVID-19. That's up from the past. There was no new related COVID-19 deaths. But the hospitalizations, which were just like 0, 1, 2, really kind of jumped up there last week.
That's a lot.
According to the Ohio Department of Health. Now, we asked Jackson County Health Commissioner Kevin Aston what's going on. When we called him, he had not seen the ODH stats at that time, and he was surprised. He knows that there's been more cases, but he was surprised about our ranking.
Yeah.
He said that that he feels that it has something to do with with more cases in nursing homes, and just more cases in long-term care facilities, and just because more people and this is certainly true, are relaxing.
Sure.
Very few people are wearing masks. If you were at the Jackson football game last Friday, you had 5,000 plus people massed together for a football game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, school has started back up again, which is mass gatherings of human beings as well. So we will certainly watch this. Vinton County has more cases too, but they rank 36th out of the 88 counties, not nearly as many. But I guess the good news, once again, no new deaths are reported. And I do know, at least in one case on these nursing homes, it's mainly staff members that are reporting COVID-19 cases. And I'm not sure what the rules are because you've read so many things, but my guess is they do regular testing in the nursing homes, staff and residents both. And the reason that staff members are testing positive is because they're getting tested. They have to get tested, or they're supposed to get tested.
Goes back to what you just said, Pete. It's like, how many cases are there out there where people just don't say that they have it, or don't? There's a lot more cases than what are reported.
No, I think that is safe to say, and
so the numbers may or may not be accurate.
Right. Right, and according to Kevin Aston, he's saying some of the same things we heard him say when the pandemic was at its worst. There was even more cases. There was more hospitalizations. There were some deaths. He says good hygienic practices, hand washing techniques, and social distancing are encouraged, especially for those who have underlying health conditions or at high risk. Those that are sick are encouraged to isolate for 5 days or until their symptoms clear. Afterwards, it is encouraged to wear a mask for at least another 5 days to limit the spread. So, all we can do is put this information out there if you might be sick or if you have been sick.
If you're feeling a bit under the weather, stay home.
Try to think of other people. I know we've all decided that from the top down, it looks like that we're living our lives, which we talked about the necessity of doing that, but it's still here. So we do need to be careful. All right, another story that broke towards the end of last week. This happened on Friday, the same day we have a football game.
Yeah,
the Wellston Rockets hosting the Fairland Dragons, first home game of the season, second game of the season, second game of the whole season. We learned that the Wellston head football coach, Carl Justice, had resigned. So there he is right there. We tried to get confirmation of that. On Friday.
Before the game or after the game?
He turned in his resignation on Friday, August 26th, and he made it effective immediately. I don't know what form the message was in, an email, a note, or whatever, but I did talk to Superintendent Brian Rao personally, and he said he received a very brief message, no reason given, that the football coach had resigned.
Wow.
Remember, Mr. Justice had just been hired last May, which was very late in the game, when you have almost year-round training for football. He was hired after Nolan Yates, who had been hired earlier in the year, kind of late in the game too, because, there was a vacancy there for football coach. Mike Smith had left to go to another school. Nolan Yates resigned after he did not receive a teaching position that he expected to. He just didn't think it would work out personally for him.
Yeah.
And so Carl Justice was hired as his replacement. And he just turned in, there was all sorts of things on social media. You don't know what is true, but officially, he resigned of his own volition, and he did not give a reason officially.
Okay.
In the official notice to the school officials, which was received by the superintendent. Dan Polson, who was on Carl Justice's staff and has been the offensive coordinator, he coached the team on Friday night against Fairland.
Okay.
My guess is he will continue as the coach since it's late in the game. And they probably, I do not expect them. They may hire him as the head coach or something, but I wouldn't expect a change regardless. Or he may stay as the interim coach. There is a special meeting of the Wellston City Board of Education tonight. The superintendent said it was not called because of the football coaching situation. They have other things to do, but it certainly could come up.
I would say so. And
he did not know for sure about whether Mr. Polson would remain as the interim coach throughout the year, but it would seem reasonable.
Yeah, for sure.
Since he's there and he's been, I guess, next in line.
That just has to be unfortunate for the kids, That's rough.
Yes, it certainly certainly is. The Rockets kind of rebuilding anyway, lost some seniors from last year. Of course, lost their coach who was doing a good job. Then they lost their new coach, and now, they've lost their second new coach. So
Yikes.
it's been a wild ride there for those kids and the fans of the Wellston Rockets. So Thursday, a good news business story out of Vinton County. Goodwill will be opening their new retail and training center there on West Main Street, Route 50, the west end of town, very near Vinton County High School.
Yes.
And they're going to do a grand opening event on Thursday, September 1st. That's this Thursday at 9 a.m. Our Red Thompson will be there. And we have covered it on the front end that this was coming. There is a Goodwill location downtown in MacArthur now, but this will be a brand new building, a bigger building, a better building, where they can not only do the retail that Goodwill is known for, but also do some training as well.
Yes.
Our radio station will be up there to do a live remote, so we'll have coverage that way as too. WKOV will be broadcasting between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m.
Cool.
The actual ribbon cutting and grand opening will be at 9 a.m. And they tell us that they will have some new goods for sale there, including Halloween decor and accessories. And they are very excited because in addition to the retail, they will be providing day services to individuals with disabilities in a 3,000 square foot area that is adjacent to the store itself. Hours for the new Goodwill store training center will be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and then 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. So they will be open 7 days a week, and we will be there when they actually open.
Nice.
All right, and we do want to remind everybody, I'm not sure I talked about this on television, right? We talked about Deerland before?
No.
Okay. All right. Well,
not on the air anyway.
Let's give you the full story. Out there on Standpipe Road, there's a place called the Deerland RV Park, and it's been there for a long time, but ownership has changed, and the new owner is going to try to kick things up a little bit, get more business there, be more active, and it's Larry Henkel of Jeffersonville. That's, of course, over by Washington Courthouse. He is the new owner of Deerland RV Park, which is located at 974 Standpipe Road. And he was familiar with the area, loved the camping facility there, and decided when the opportunity came to go to buy it. And it is a 65-acre wooded campground with 49 full hookup campsites and 3 furnished cottages. There's also a large fishing pond. They have paddle boats, a small playground, a game room, and a reception hall. If you haven't been back in there for an event or to camp,
it's a lovely space.
It truly is. And they're going to be offering daily, weekly, monthly, and seasonal rates. And they are going to have kind of a special event on this Saturday, September 3rd, to celebrate the new ownership. It'll be from 6:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Also on Saturday, WKOV will be there doing a live remote. They're going to have live entertainment on Sunday then from Salem's Lot from 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. So kind of a celebration out there. There'll be a good chance to go out there and take a look-see for future business out there. Not sure that Deerland is going to do this, but they do have one larger building where sometimes events are held, and we'll have to see whether the new owners want to use it for that sometimes as well. But once again, new ownership at Deerland RV Park just outside Jackson. Back here in Jackson, Rio Grande Community College has announced that Kristen Mershon will be the new director of the Jackson Center. And there is Kristen. And the Jackson Center, of course, is located there on East Main Street, there in the same center where Tri-City Cinema is. It's on the other end.
The old bowling alley.
That is basically, they call it the Jackson Center. It is basically a branch of the community college, making it more convenient for local residents here in Jackson County in particular to get some college level classes and credits. And Kristen has previously served in numerous roles at Rio Grande Community College. She started as a financial aid advisor, then became one of the first student success coaches before accepting this new position as director of the Jackson Center. And so she's very excited about the Jackson Center and being the director. She wants prospective students to know that the Jackson Center is a smaller option where students can complete their general education requirements and even receive an associate's degree. So you might want to check that out, and good luck to Kristen Mershon over at the Jackson Center for the University of Rio Grande.
Absolutely.
All right. The election is still several months away, but, they say Labor Day is the unofficial time where the politicking begins. But it can be before that, as we all know. But this was a little more casual and social than it was political. But the Jackson County Republican Party had what they called its Party in the Park last Saturday.
Oh.
And they had a pretty nice turnout. It was a nice day, as you know, a little warm, but sunny. They were there under the Rotary Shelter House. And they were Donnie Willis, who is the executive committee chairman, invited local candidates, local officials, and district and state officials to come. And he had a few did. They had free pulled pork. I don't think he even had to be a Republican to take advantage of it. They didn't check your party registration at the door, but they had pulled pork free popcorn, free hot dogs and beverages, and just a nice kind of family-style social event. But some of the people who came included State Senate candidate Shane Wilkin. He's from Hillsborough. He's actually, if you're looking at the picture, he's standing on the far left in the back row. And his wife, Christy Wilkin, she's not a candidate, but she is a sitting appeals court judge in the 4th District. They're from Hillsborough. She's right in the middle. And two of those three young ladies in the red T-shirts to her left are two of her and Shane's daughters.
Oh, okay.
And there was a friend there as well. But other folks that were there, you see Jackson County Recorder Krista Brown, Jackson County Auditor Tiffany Ridgway, Brent Stepp, who is the Central Committee Chairman in Jackson County. On the end is Bonnie Ward, who is the 17th District State Central Committee woman. And then on the back row, you've got Jackson Mayor Randy Evans by Shane Wilkin. You've got Donnie Willis right there in the middle. He's a commissioner as well as the executive committee chairman for the Republican Party. You've got State Representative Jason Stevens. You have his wife, Julie Stevens, who is the representative for Congressman Bill Johnson. And then I think I mentioned Bonnie Ward there standing in the back row on the end. Very, very nice event that the Republican Party had on Saturday. And we'll be hearing lots more, I'm sure, from both sides there. We don't have a lot of local races, Jennifer. Once again, if you remember what happened with our primaries and all, but we do have contested races at the state level, including United States Senate, governor, all the state level offices like Attorney General, Treasurer, Auditor, et cetera, Secretary of State. You've got a contested race for Congress. And also for state senate. So there'll be lots going on. We'll say more about this later, but we wanted to say this ahead of time. This Wednesday is August 31st, and that is officially Shirley Rowland Day in the village of Colton. Shirley has been the utilities clerk and the court clerk for the village of Colton for 17 years. Aww. And having covered some of those meetings before, you can't find a nicer and more competent person than Shirley Rowland. And Colton Mayor Kim Milliken wanted her to have her day. Because that will be her last official day.
Aww.
Elizabeth Compston has taken over her job for at least one of those jobs, maybe both. And she is training with her now, and she will take over officially on September the 1st. All right. We already told you that the Wellston City Board of Education will be meeting tonight. It will take place at 7:30 p.m. at the district office, the administration office at 1 East Broadway. They're going to talk about employment of personnel, a pay schedule for sports officials because they're hard to get. You got to pay them more now, and a discussion of the facilities project because there's lots going on with facilities there at Wellston. Talk about where they are with that. And they are also going to have an executive session to discuss personnel with likely no action to follow. Okay, we also want to let the public know that there will be a mobile food pantry tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Franklin Township House on Canberra Road. This is open to the public. Well, it's open. I shouldn't say that. It's open to the public if you're a Jackson County resident. It is limited to Jackson County residents, and it's God's hands at work that is doing it. And so This is at the Franklin Township House on Canberra Road in Franklin Township, open to all Jackson County residents tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. And our friend Cindy Stifler, who does so much good work with the kids on the Apple City Players program, she's going to do the play that she wrote herself, Kid Kringle, in December.
Yes.
Well, they were going to have auditions at the end of last week. They postponed that, and the auditions are now scheduled for Tuesday, September 6th. So you still have time to get involved in that. That will be at the Marquet Cultural Arts Center at 6:30 p.m. If you're interested in auditioning, just show up there and try out. And I believe that play, which is a musical and a comedy, will be held in December there at the Marquet. And I know we're going to hear more later. We're going to get with our man James. There was a big event at the Marquet this last Saturday, and that was the Evening with the Arts event. He was good enough to do the coverage for us, and so we'll be having some information and photos in the paper. But of course, the Evening with the Arts goes way, way back in the history of the Marquet.
A few years.
It was the main fundraiser. Barbara Summers and Maxine Plummer. Maxine Plummer on the board. Barbara Summers is executive director. Sure, they worked to get grants. They were important. Couldn't have done it without it. But they also raised a lot of local money.
Yes, they did.
And one of the big events, the big event that they had was that Evening with the Arts event, kind of a social coming out party. They had an art auction, a lot of donated art from local and area artists. And that element was part of this new Evening with the Arts that they had last Saturday, but it was done a little bit differently. Some performances, several different art auctions and like that, including one there in the evening. But we will hear more about that. But all the money that goes in there will keep the Marquet running, because it was one thing to build it, but now you've got to operate it.
Got to operate it. Did you have a good time, James?
It was a really awesome show. I mean, the highlight was definitely, so the final show of the night was Jordan Lombardo's band.
Yes.
And this is mostly a group of guys from Columbus. And then so Josh Willett and Ryan Hurd, they played like their horns with them.
Yeah.
And so they did like the last, 40 minutes or so. They were really, really good. They were really fun.
Good. I had I had my own little private concert while we were in there setting the beer up, and so they were
go to the sound check.
They were doing the sound check when I was in there, and they so I like peeked in, and it's like, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, no, they were really, really fun. They really did a great job.
Good.
But all the acts were great, but they were really definitely
a lot of people came together for a good cause there. The people who donated their time, donated their art, opened their wallets to buy art or just to participate, because there was a fee to get in. You got fed and everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of entertainment.
Jen, you probably left when the people from the treatery showed up.
Oh no, they were setting that up while we were setting the beer up.
Was that not the best smell?
And
in the
I was
world?
like, Nicole, I used to like you.
Oh my God.
Because the treatery came and did this huge spread of donuts, and they made like little strawberry shortcake things.
Dude, it was next level.
It smelled like, as soon as you walked in, it was just like,
so I gotta tell,
I can believe it.
I gotta tell them myself in regards to that.
Yes.
So there's a few donuts and stuff left over at the end of the night. So I grabbed one of those treatery boxes and snuck a few in there to take home with me.
James.
And so I have a cat that's very mischievous, and so I can't just leave a box of donuts on the counter.
Yeah.
So I put them in the oven to keep them away from the cat, and I forgot they were in the oven, and I started heating up the oven to make dinner the next night.
Oh no!
and so I open up that oven, and I'm just burning cardboard, smelling my face. So I grab that box and pull it out real fast, and those things are all melted.
Oh my! Okay.
What does a baked donut taste like, James?
So I think they're gonna be fine. But I set them aside to let them cool off. But I didn't get back around to tasting it yet. But I think it'll be okay.
Okay, I was going to say, what a tragedy.
I know.
But yeah, it ruined
donut abuse.
Yeah, it ruined that delicious cream cheese icing they had on that pumpkin bread.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
this pumpkin bread, like cupcakes they had, We could do the whole show just talking about how good that dessert bar was.
It was. No, I agree. And I'm like looking at Nicole. I'm like, why are you here at the same
Yeah.
time I am?
When I
This is
opened,
sick and twisted.
When I opened the door to walk in there, you open that door and it's just bam, donut
Yes.
smell. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that smells so good.
So good.
Anyway, Pete, on with the news.
All
That's enough donut
We
talk.
digress.
All
We
right,
digress
we went
for
to
the donut
donut
talk.
baking. We'll go to sports now.
Okay.
All right. Of course, another big high school football weekend this past weekend. All 4 of our local teams involved in Friday night games. And without a doubt, the biggest game in the area was right at Alumni Stadium.
Oh, yes,
The
it
Jackson
was.
Ironmen and the Ironton Fighting Tigers. And the Ironton Fighting Tigers were behind most of the game, but they were ahead when it counted, and that was at the end, 29-26.
Heartbreaking.
That's the word. I know it's been used millions of times, but that is exactly what it was. Ironton scored with 1 minute and 6 seconds to go.
What is it with these two teams playing?
Well, Ironton is considered kind of like the primo team in the area.
Yeah.
And Jackson is close. Wheelersburg is close. Others can be. So 2 years in a row, Jackson has lost on almost the last play of the game to Ironton. Last year, it was the last play of the game, that long kickoff return. This year, they scored the last touchdown with 1:06 to go. Jackson got the ball, one last chance, got down to the Ironton 18-yard line, was able to throw a pass into the end zone. Well, the wrong guy caught it.
Oh, man.
So it ends up 29-26. I will say this also. I mean, it was a great game. And, it was just, if you were a fan, someone's going to be sad. There were a lot of sad people from Jackson. But it's maybe the biggest crowd I've seen there in more than 10 years. I mean,
Nice.
it was truly packed there at Jackson High School. I know the band people ran out of breadsticks in the third quarter, and it was that kind of night.
You guys know where Matt McKee lives. They were across from the middle school. He said it took him an hour to get home.
Oh my!
To give you an idea of how big that crowd was.
Yeah.
Right, and we're one of the last ones to leave, and well, I went out the Burlington Road exit, which is kind of like a secondary exit, and so it wasn't bad. And that was still, we were one of the last ones to leave, and there were still some cars leaving then. There was a line an hour after the game to still get out of the stadium. And when I went to the stadium at 5:15, which is very early, it was a line to get in then.
Wow.
And part of it, a small part of it was because it was also senior
It was
night
senior
for
night.
all the football players, cheerleaders, and that huge band. So anyway, other scores from the weekend: Piketon over Oak Hill 26-7, Fairland over Wellston 47-7, and this had to be a heartbreaker too. Vinton County loses in overtime to Rock Hill 21-20.
Oh, man.
All right, one of the nice things that we want to say was that that in the pregame up there at Wellston, they had the Hall of Fame night.
Okay.
And 3 outstanding athletes were inducted into the Hall of Fame in pregame ceremonies. They were Thomas Mays from the class of 2003, Brianna Hall from the class of 2010, and Mike Johnson from the class of 1975. And if you're looking at the picture there, of course, you've got athletic director Jeff Hendershot. Then you have the inductees Thomas Mays, Brianna Hall, and Mike Johnson. And there on the end is school board president Terry Gill. But I want to tell you just a little bit about each inductee because they certainly earned it.
Sure.
Thomas Mays from the class of 2003. He was a standout running back and linebacker in 2 years when they won the championship in Wellston, the TVZ Ohio Championship. He ran for a total of 3,277 yards as a running back.
Wow.
That is second in school history.
That's a lot.
Right, exactly. Brianna starred in both volleyball and softball, led her all 4 years in both sports. In softball, she helped lead the Rockets to a TVC and sectional tournament championship in both 2007 and 2008. She had 15 career home runs, which at the time was a school record. Mike Johnson lettered in football, wrestling, and track and field, but his greatest distinction was as a middle distance runner. He ran an event called the 880-yard run, which is like the 800 meters now because we've gone from yards to meters.
Yep.
But he finished 4th place in the state track meet in 1975 at Wellston. He established school records and an SEOL record because Wellston was in the SEOL back then. And his record in the 880, when it translates to the 800 meter, still stands at Wellston, his record is still a school record, and his fourth place finish in the state track meet is the best finish in the state track meet of any Wellston high school trackster in the school's history. So obviously, those three
Nice.
are very, very deserving. Congratulations to all of them.
Hey, one more note, Pete, I want to add about the Friday night football is the radio broadcast from all 4 games is available on our podcast feed. So you can go back and listen to them anytime you want.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
All right. Well,
good point.
Well, among the people who'd be most interested in the broadcast are ones who are participating.
Sure.
So I think that would be a good thing. And if you're a parent and you want to hear the game again because you witnessed it but you didn't necessarily hear it, you can relive it again.
There you go.
So that is a very nice feature that we've developed here at Total Media.
You got it.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Pete. And of course, Jeremiah for stopping by and James for the little Marquet update. And we'll, again, be showing you more pictures and stuff from the evening with the arts later on this week. Okay. So we look forward to that. All right. Have a great day, everyone. We will be back here tomorrow and we'll party on. So thanks for watching. We'll see you then. Bye.